And hello everyone, welcome to another edition of the Mayor Minute. I'm Cheryl Vercammen and I'm the Mayor of Marine City, and today with me I'm interviewing Joe Slankster, who is our fire chief at Marine City. So welcome Chief.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So we're going to talk hopefully about everything and anything related to fire, because we were just talking earlier about, you know, it's a good season to talk about this because people are closing themselves in, heating their homes with different things, Christmas trees and that kind of stuff. So we're just going to go over a couple of questions and just have a conversation about educating people about fire.
Sounds good.
So tell us a little bit about the Marine City Fire Authority.
So the Marine City Fire Authority, it was established right around 15 to 18 years ago. It was known as the Marine City Fire Department, where they were the sole owners of it. And then the communities of China, East China, and Cotterville, along with Marine City, all got together and decided to form the Fire Authority. So now they're all a percentage owner of the fire department itself. They pay their fair share of the services that they use, and that's all done by a budget. And if, let's use example like Marine City, if they use like 54% of our runs for the year, they pay 54% of our budget. And that's how it's been formed. There's 9 members on the board, 3 from the city, 2 from Cotterville, 2 from East China, and 2 from East China. And the reason Marine City has 3 is because they use the majority of the calls, and they pay the most of our budget. So they have the tiebreaker vote if there's anything that was to be voted on.
I see, yeah. So that's the difference between a fire department and a fire authority.
Yes, you have multiple owners.
Multiple owners, multiple jurisdictions, so to speak. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
We cover 48 square miles, and we run roughly 900 calls a year.
Wow. Wow, 900 calls a year. That's
with 20 firefighters.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So how many, obviously, trained firefighters, and then you have a medical team?
We're all trained in medical. When you come in, you get a Fire 1 and Fire 2. That's a state requirement. You have to have that within 2 years, state required. And then we put our members through an MFR class, Medical First Responder class, which is about another 60 hours, 66 hours. And then they're trained. MFR is just below an EMT or a paramedic. We don't transport, so we run with a tri-hospital EMS.
Right.
And they do all the transport, and they have the higher license. Marine City Fire Authority is only licensed as an MFR responder. So we run with tri-hospital.
Right. So basically, if you're first on scene, you're triaging.
Triage, we give oxygen, we take the vitals. We can check for sugar and all that stuff.
And then once tri rolls in, right, the ambulance.
They're able to give IVs and intubate patients if they're not breathing, and give medications where we don't carry any medications with us.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. Okay. So I was going to ask, are all volunteers, or is everybody paid? Everybody
gets paid. They're called paid on call firefighters. We all carry pagers. I'm the only full-time firefighter. They hired me within about 8 months ago, just because we're such low on manpower. But we are all trained firefighters and medical first responders, and they do get paid per hour per call. So if the call runs 3 hours for like a house fire or something like that, they get paid 3 hours. Our bottom rate starts out at $12 for a probationary, and you can go up to $15 as just a firefighter, and then the officers get a little bit more stipend.
So your basic firefighter then carries, if they're on call, they carry the pager, right? It goes off any time of the day or night, and how do they know where they're going?
It's a voice activated. The sheriff's department will tell us where they're going, or we get a text message through our phone. It'll give us the type of call on our phone, and it'll also give us a mapping to where we're going if you're not familiar with the area. But they'll explain what is actually happening, why they need emergency.
So who goes to the station? Does everybody go to the station first, or do you respond directly to a call?
A lot of times we'll go to the station, make sure the trucks are rolling. Like myself, I'll go to the station, make sure that the truck is going to be going en route. If it's out where they live, we have another kind of a substation out at China Township where there's a truck there with medical and fire capabilities. They will go there. I have 5 members that live around that jurisdiction. So if it's out that way, I'll let them go out there, take care of that, and I'll go into the station for a second call, if there's a second call that comes out. If they need another truck, we'll bring a different truck out there.
Right, yeah.
But,
I would think that communication would be so much better than it was,
Yes.
you know, a long time ago. I used to be a volunteer firefighter in Ira Township.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just got a page.
Yeah. Yeah, now they come across the pager, they'll tell us what they got, and then we'll get it across our text messages through our phones. So,
Good.
a little more technology.
Right. What type of equipment do we have? You know, we always go by the fire station on Parker,
Yep.
which is a beautiful fire station,
you.
by the way.
Thank you.
Beautiful floor.
Yeah, thank you.
Just had that done, right?
Yes, we did.
And what type of equipment do we have?
So we have 2 rescue trucks. One is a pickup. It strictly goes on medical emergencies, and he actually goes on 100% of our calls. It carries all of our oxygen, defibrillators. We have a second rescue truck, which is for car accidents. It carries our Jaws
Jaws of Life. Yeah.
Carries Stokes baskets for like hunting season now. If somebody was to fall out of a tree, we can take a basket out there and carry them out.
Okay.
It does carry a little bit of water. We have 2 engines that go on all structure fires. We also have 2 tankers. One carries 3,000 gallons of water, and one carries 2,000 gallons. And that's for the outer townships that don't have fire hydrants. There are sections in the city that low water volume in some of the hydrants, so they also go for any structure fire. And it gives us a little bit of time to find a hydrant, to go get a good hydrant. And then we have 2 grass trucks and a fireboat.
What's a grass truck?
Grass truck is if there's a field fire, we can put it in 4-wheel drive, go out in the field instead of having to walk out there. And
Right.
it carries water, it carries the hose, pump on it, and carries our manpower out to, if it's a field out in the way out or something.
Do we have any capability of actually pumping from the river if you're close?
Yes. We have the 2 engines in along Water Street. That is our plan. If anything was to go along Water Street, one of our engines would go in what we call drafting out of the river, and we would pull more water out of the river and utilize some of the fire hydrants in town also.
You can use, if somebody had a structure fire and they had a pond, you could use that too.
Yep, we have little pumps that we can put in there, or we can pull one of the trucks up to a pond. We've taken out of swimming pools. We've filled swimming pools back up because we used it, but we just get water wherever we need it. And as long as the homeowner's good with it, we'll take it.
Yeah. Good, that's kind of cool. The station on Parker Street, that is the only station in Marine City?
Yes. Yep. And then
so you have that one, and then you have what you said, one in China?
We call it a substation. It has 1 truck in it right now. We're planning on putting a water truck out there with 2,000 gallons of water. That is right at the Township Hall, China Township Hall on Indian Trail and Lindsay.
Yeah, Lindsay and Indian Trail,
They refurbished the garage there, so they have offered that to us.
Yeah.
And it helps because I have 5 to 6 members that live within miles from there.
Sure, makes sense.
And them 2 trucks are also mutual aid for the city of St. Clair. If they were to get anything in the China Township area, we would respond there and get the truck instead of taking the ones from the city.
Ladder trucks, do we have any ladder trucks?
No, we do not.
So but we really don't have anything more than 3 stories.
So
right?
what I've asked the city of St. Clair and Algonac is if it's anything, any business-wise in our jurisdiction, they will bring their ladder trucks to us. They both have 95-foot ladders, and they've agreed to do that. So, and that's where we would draft out of the river to feed these trucks because they do take a lot of water. The ladder trucks do.
Yeah.
But like the hotel, we would definitely need a ladder truck for that.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
So tell me about the fire station that we have in Marine City. One of my grandkids said, do firefighters sleep there?
No, we don't. Because we're all paid on call. I do 8 to 4 in the morning till afternoon, but nobody sleeps there. The only time we've ever really slept there is if we have a big storm and a lot of calls, and the dispatch asks us to man our station. We'll sleep in a chair, but other than that, nobody sleeps there.
Yeah.
It's strictly volunteer, paid on call.
Right, but you have facilities there for training. You have
yep.
obviously a kitchen.
Yep, we have a kitchen. We have a training tower out back, 3-story training tower that the firefighters built back in, I want to say, probably '92. They built that, where that gives us the ability to do search and rescues in the smoke, because we can fill the smoke up from each level of the floor. And it gives us ladder practice too for a 3-story building. One of our trucks do carry a 35-foot ladder where we could get to the balconies, let's say the hotel or something like that,
Yeah.
to get anybody out. So.
Right, and also it gives you some practice with being fully loaded and
Yep.
going up 3
Oh,
flights.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because that puts about 80 extra pounds on you with everything, and then you get wet with the water, and so it's about 60 to 80 pounds extra weight that you're not used to.
Right. Right.
So we train every Tuesday night, 7 until around 9 o'clock at night. We smoke that up. We do searches. We do water train-ins. We do pretty much everything.
Yeah, because you got to know how to work a hose.
Yeah.
Especially that
Oh, yeah.
size hose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of pressure on them. The operator needs to know his manpower. Depending on how much pressure you want to put on somebody. A newer guy, you're not going to put as much pressure as you're going to put on a new guy or an older firefighter, because they're used to the pressure, the volume of it.
Yeah, I think we've all seen the videos where the fire hose kind of gets away sometimes.
Yeah. And that,
you know,
that can be deadly.
That can be very deadly.
We can put enough pressure on the hose to actually lift the firefighter off the ground if we wanted. So a lot of times you'll see 2 firefighters on it. It just means they got quite a bit of pressure coming through there.
Right.
It all depends on the diameter of the hose.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the most common call that we have in Marine City and in our fire authority area?
So our area, we typically run a lot of medicals, heart attack, difficulty breathings. We do have an older community. There are a few homes that we take care of, like on Meisner Road, and just a lot of difficulty breathings, medicals. Like I said, 95% of our calls are probably medical emergencies, running with Tri-Hospital and assist in lifting patients up that have fallen.
And that's a 911 call.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it could be a lift assist and, like you said, all the other
Yes.
stuff that comes with it.
Yep.
Yeah. And you both run on that.
Yes, we do. Yep. And the reason is because, one, we don't want to be lifting ourselves, by ourselves. So we want to have more manpower there. And Tri-Hospital is coming with 2 people, and sometimes it takes more than 2 people to lift somebody up.
Right.
Especially if you're going to be coming up and down a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
They
You
do
get the
have these nice
gurney
chairs that they use, but sometimes it takes more than 2 people to do that. So that's why we run on them.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Let's talk about actual working fires.
Okay.
And some scenarios. So obviously the definition of working fire truly means a fire that is engaged and going, right?
Yep.
Home fires. What do you think the main cause of a home fire is?
I'm going to kind of use the example of right now. Everybody is starting their furnaces up, using space heaters, starting their fireplaces up. And I'm going to say a lot of it is lack of maintenance on some of the stuff. Or them just not being able to have the ability to clean like the chimney themselves and just think, well, I can start a fire. And we get multiple chimney fires a year. Somebody starts their furnace up for the first time and they're smelling something that smells like a fire. A lot of times it's not, it's just stuff that's been sitting on burners for a while throughout the summer, and you'll get that odor. But actual working fires now is, with these space heaters, it's putting a lot of stress on their electrical system. You'll see multiple extension cords in these 2 outlets here, and you should have a power strip in there somewhere, and they just refuse to, or not aware of doing it maybe.
Right.
So if you're using space heaters, I would suggest plugging it into a power strip, make sure it's away from curtains, making sure it's away from Christmas trees now that's coming up, making sure it's away from your furniture. And if you have little kids, try to put it somewhere where they're not going to be tipping it over or playing with it.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you recommend for? I have a little space heater in my bathroom because my bathroom is always cold.
Yep.
You know, it goes kind of on and off on a thermostat, but you know, it was not that expensive.
No.
You know, and you know, every 2 years I replace it, whether it needs it or not. I'm just like, you know what? I'm not messing around. I get a little ceramic heater, and it works perfectly.
And we kind of recommend every 5 years because they come out with new technology. Now, if you tip it over, it automatically shuts off. So I recommend about every 5 years, making sure it's cleaned every year before you start it, and just making sure it's away from flammable objects.
Yeah. So a good space heater is the plug-in kind,
Yes. Yep.
right? You certainly don't want to be running any flammable liquid, but people do though.
Oh yeah, I've seen them where they have them running in the garage and they're working on gas lines and stuff, and it ignites the fumes. So you just got to be smart not to use flammable liquids around it,
Because the fumes in themselves
will light.
can ignite,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, the fumes is what lights. It's not actually the liquid. It's the fumes that come off the liquid.
Yeah. So it's always good if you're going to be, if you have a pole barn, right?
Yep.
And you're running a kerosene heater or something, you need to leave a window open.
Have some ventilation.
Yeah,
Yep.
have
Put a
some
fan in the window. Leave a door cracked open. Especially even generators. You know, if you're running when the power goes out, generators, make sure you got good ventilation. Don't be running it in a garage, in a basement, nowhere.
Yeah.
Because of the carbon monoxide.
Right. And to me, you know, talking like this, it's commonsensical, but I'm shocked at how many people still do it.
You'd be surprised.
You know, putting the generator in the garage or in the basement especially.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I mean, I know it's convenient, but you got a gas-powered generator in your basement.
Yeah.
You know,
That's not good.
that's not good.
No.
Yeah. So home fires, getting back to that, let's talk about kitchen and grease fires.
Okay.
You know, because I am still kind of amazed that I think people's knee-jerk reaction when they're cooking something on the stove and it's greasy, and all of a sudden something, you know, it tilts or something and it starts on fire, their knee-jerk reaction is to grab a glass of water.
Yes.
So what's going to happen with that?
It's going to spread very fast.
It's going to,
And you're probably going to get burnt from the splash from the hot grease. The best thing to do is if there's a lid there, put a lid over it. Maybe if you have a wet towel or something, throw that over it. But if it doesn't seem to be going out, definitely get out, call 911. We'll bring our extinguishers in. A good extinguisher to have in a home is an ABC extinguisher. I keep one under the sink near the stove, and then I have one at my basement stairs and one in the garage. It's can never have enough.
right.
Our last structure fire was in Shangri-La Park, and they actually pretty much had it out with a fire extinguisher. It was underneath the trailer, and it was nice that they had that because we know how trailers go up very fast. So they pretty much had it knocked out by the time we got there. But an ABC extinguisher is an excellent one to have for in-home.
Yeah. And ABC stands for what? I know.
You're putting me on the spot.
It's not liquid, it's a powder.
No, it's a powder.
Right. It's a powder.
Yes.
And obviously there's different classifications of
Yes.
fire, and that'll cover.
That'll cover all your electrical. It'll cover your grease. It'll
Yep.
cover paper.
Right. I didn't mean to do
And
that. Sorry.
No problem. I should know it. I know it. I just
It's way back there somewhere.
camera shock.
Because I think that, like you said, everybody should have a fire extinguisher in their kitchen. I think the most common place that I've seen them is under the kitchen sink, but in the back.
Yes.
You know, that little, and they don't have to be big.
No.
You know, you want something.
You can have the 2-pounders that are real small. They're not really expensive either. You know, you can get them at any local hardware. But keep it towards the front because you don't want to be digging for this because grease fires spread. Fire spreads right around every 25 seconds. It doubles in size. So it's very important to have an extinguisher nearby.
My mom had the old-fashioned extinguisher. She had a tumbler of flour.
Yeah.
It was sat right in the cupboard next to the stove. It was written, you know, she had a little label on it, and then she had like a little plastic thing and a rubber band so she could get it off quick. instead of, trying to
Oh,
unscrew something.
yeah.
That was our fire extinguisher.
And it works.
It works.
Baking soda works.
Right.
Flour, like I said, the extinguishers themselves. Once you use the extinguisher, it's better just to toss them out because you cannot really refill them. Just because of how fine the powder is in there, you'll never really get a good seal. So even if we use them, we get rid of them and we buy new extinguishers. Years ago, we used to fill them, and you would notice that you would lose your pressure afterwards. So we just buy new now.
Yeah. Don't you think it's important for people to actually handle a fire extinguisher
Yes.
and just practice?
Yep.
I mean, how much does a little 2-pounder cost? Because you can actually spread a fire
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're, not doing it correctly. It's got to be a sweeping.
Sweep, yep.
Right?
Yep, start at the bottom and just work your way up and just sweep back and forth. And it should go out.
Yeah. So kitchen grease fires, electrical, we talked about that,
Yep.
right? I mean, you can't be loading up too much on, some of the older homes don't have enough outlets.
Yeah.
And
now this time of year, you're going to get your space heaters. Somebody's going to want to plug their Christmas decorations in, then their Christmas tree in, and you're just going to overload your circuit. Basically, what we do when we come into a fire where we know it's electrical, we shut the power off right away, and then extinguish the fire.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. We talked about fireplaces. How often should somebody get their actual fireplace flue? Is it a flue?
Flute,
Flue, yeah.
cleaned.
Yes.
I recommend doing it yearly.
Chimney sweep.
Yep, chimney sweep.
Because they come in and start from the roof, right?
Yes,
and they're
yes.
scraping all of that.
Yep, they'll send a big brush down there and knock all the creosote down, and then they'll clean that all out of the trap and stuff. What we do is when we get a chimney fire, our first thing is we walk in, make sure that it's in the chimney, and we'll actually throw a glass of water inside the fireplace, kind of create some steam, close it, and most of the time it puts that chimney fire out. If it doesn't, we'll go up on the roof and shoot extinguisher down the chimney.
Oh, and you want your chimney clean
Yes.
too, because
And it's good to get
Santa's
inspected
coming.
too. Yep. Yes.
we don't want Santa to get his uniform dirty.
Yep.
Christmas trees. Do you like real trees?
No, I do not. I have a fake tree. I've never been a fan of real trees. One, because they dry out and they ignite and burn very fast. They will burn within seconds. So if you are having a Christmas tree, a real one, I would definitely make sure it is always watered and away from your space heaters and stuff like that. But no, I'm not a fan of real trees.
Yeah. Yeah, because and again, if you are going to have a real tree, you should have a fire extinguisher in that room just to be on the safe side.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And we talked about what type of fire extinguishers, where to put them. Let's talk about smoke detectors.
So smoke detectors, there's several kinds. There's battery operated and there's hardwired ones. Majority of the houses now are mandated to have hardwired ones with battery backup. I would suggest testing them every 6 months and changing the battery. Seeing your clocks are coming to be turned back here shortly, you should replace your batteries in your smoke detectors. You should have one in every bedroom, not one in the kitchen, because that sets it off when Dad's usually cooking. But it's important to have one in the hallway, the basement, stairs, top, bottom of the stairs, and then one in every bedroom. It's nice to have more than enough, but if they're all hooked together, if one goes off in the basement, they all go off. So
And that's the hardwired.
yes, hardwired.
Yeah.
Yep. So we always recommend hardwired detectors.
Right.
But it's code now, so
Yeah,
it
which I
has
think
to,
is
yes.
great.
Yep.
Because especially, obviously smoke rises and travels up,
Yes.
right? So if something is going on in the basement, you're 2 floors
Upstairs.
up, and instead of waiting for the smoke to come all the way up, because it could be, your whole first floor could be almost
Yes.
engulfed,
Yep.
right? Now you
Yep.
get a little bit more of a
Yep.
lead time to get out.
Yep. And like you said, the smoke travels up, so it being in the basement and they're all hardwired, the top ones are going to go off too. And a lot of times your basement is closed off with a door, so it's trapping that smoke in there a little bit longer, just letting it burn a little bit longer before you're aware of it. So it's very important to have them hardwired in the basement too.
Yeah. Do you, I know it always sounds hokey, but I think it's so important to have fire drills.
Yep.
You know, when my kids were little, because my kids slept on a different floor than I did. I was upstairs, they were on the main floor. And we had fire drills.
Yep, and it's good to have fire drills, especially the schools now are doing them.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to come home and have your kids do them. And I was at a school just about a couple hours ago, and I kind of drill it into the kids' heads. They should have a plan with mom and dad. If there is a fire, they're to get out, stay out, go to a neighbor's, go to a sidewalk, go stand by a tree and just to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely for the parents, I would definitely get a plan with your smaller children of where to go if there is a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of them are probably going to try hiding from a fire, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
It's better just to get out, stay out,
Right.
and let us go in and put it out.
Yeah. I have a friend that's a Detroit firefighter, and we were obviously talking, and I told him I was interviewing you and stuff, and he was saying that a lot of children are found under their beds.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the beds or in a closet
In the
because they're
closet.
hiding because they're scared.
Right.
And that's one thing I try to push into their heads when we're at the schools is to don't hide, go outside.
Mm-hmm.
And we use several different phrases to try to get that into them. And I tell them practice it when you're at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, tell mom and dad, stop, drop, and roll, and
Right.
911 and all that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Do you talk to the kids about like fire and what actually gets you in a fire is the smoke?
yes.
Right.
Yep.
And I used to always try to explain that every material that you have, your carpet, all your synthetics,
Yeah.
it's toxic.
Yes.
And it's just billowing black. We're used to seeing pretty fires around the fireplace and our bonfires and stuff because we're burning wood,
Yeah.
hopefully. But a house fire is not like that.
Yeah, and I try to tell them stay low, go, and then try not to breathe the smoke because it is nasty for you. I try to use the example of even a bonfire because they've probably already smelled that. Doesn't smell very good, but same thing with the house. It is going to be a dark black smoke more than likely, and if you can get it low and go, that's the best thing. Try to stay out of the smoke because that
Right.
will get you before the fire majority of the time.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's important for because fire does happen.
Yes.
I mean, even though the majority of your runs are medical, it only takes that one tragic fire.
Yep.
And we've had them.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have. Can you talk a little bit? I mean, without getting too specific, but some of the incidents in the last couple of years when we've had house fires and what caused them, and was everybody able to get out? And
So some of the fires we've had lately is one was electrical fire, like I said, down in the park, and a couple of the other ones were a careless cook, where they started the pan on fire on the stove, and they weren't able to get it out, so we went in and was able to get it out. And like I said, now is when we're coming into our busy season for structural fires because of the chimneys not being cleaned. The furnaces not being cleaned, your filters being changed on your furnaces, and all the space heaters and stuff
Right.
going on.
yeah, yeah. Pole barn and garage fires and combustibles. Let's talk about what you store in a pole barn, because I mean you got all your toys, right? Everything's got gas in it, and especially if you've got an attached garage. Pole barn is one thing. I mean, if it's going to go, it's going to go, and hopefully it's completely on its own. But when you have an attached garage, I think you even need to be more mindful of what you have in there.
Yes. And what I try to do, tell people is if you're going to store gas and oils, if you have a separate shed, keep it away from the structure of the house. You can replace that shed. You don't want to really have to replace your house when this happens. But if it's an attached garage and you do keep that in, keep it in the farthest corner of your walk-through door going into your house. That way it stays far enough away. And if you do get a garage fire, you try to close that door going into your actual house. It'll save a lot of damage to the inside of that house. It'll let us get through a different door to go into it, walk through the door and hopefully extinguish that fire quick enough.
Right.
But if we can keep the smoke and all that out of the interior of the house, it's a win for us.
Yeah.
And people can live in their house still. So.
Because there's other things that are
Oh yeah,
that are
there's
combustible.
propane. People have propane, paint. I've seen acetylene tanks go off for welding and stuff like that.
That's a bomb.
Just secure it to a wall. It's kind of a code for a lot of factories and stuff to secure it to a cart or a wall, and we try to emphasize that for residential too.
Yeah.
Keep it as far as away from the living quarters if possible.
Yeah, I saw a video of a guy, this was just last week, wanted to add a little bit more fire to his bonfire, right? His bonfire was kind of smoldering, and he's like, so he grabs just this little gas can, right? And he goes to dump it on there. Well, it went right up into the can.
Yep.
He freaked out and went to go throw it.
And spread the liquid.
Oh my goodness, his backyard went up so quick. I was kind of actually, you know, the person that filmed it obviously, you know, didn't realize what they were going to be filming, you know, but what a lesson.
Oh yeah, and it's, if that happens, just toss the can off to the side away from a structure. Let it burn itself out. Yeah, it might go boom a little bit, but at least it's not near your structure.
Yeah.
And I don't recommend using gas for any type of bonfire. Any type of fire, I would just rather keep it for your vehicles and snow blowers and stuff like that. There are other ways to get your fire going, a little bit better ways.
More natural
More
ways.
safe.
And natural, yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about, speaking of bonfires, let's talk about the new Bonfire Ordinance.
So I asked that city look at their bonfire ordinance because we do go on quite a few complaints within the city and the townships. And all I hear is people, well, we're trying to have a good bonfire with the family and the kids and stuff. And it's not them that's calling, it's a lot of the neighbors calling because they called on their barking dog, so now I'm gonna call on your bonfire type thing. And a lot of times I hear is, what is there for teenagers to do? And I've gone to quite a few bonfires where there's teenagers and just sitting around having a good time, quiet. And I thought, well, you know, do I really want to put this out? Now they're going to be out running the streets.
Sure.
So that's why I asked the city to kind of duplicate what the city of Algonac ordinance is. And they're in the process, you're in the process of doing that, which is, I think, an outstanding thing. And that way we can go and we go to these legal burns and see that they're doing it legal, and there's not much we can say. I mean, there is, we can still ask them to put it out if it's a nuisance.
Sure.
Other than that, if it's a neighbor dispute, that's not what the fire department's for.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
And obviously this ordinance is going to, you know, you got to be so many feet away from.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
15 feet away from any structure, 15 feet away from any property line. I know there's been discussion on the size of it. I'm good as long as it is away from the structure and away from your properties, your neighbor's property line. It's not going to be huge because we're not going to allow that.
Yeah.
But as long as this round and the square about the same size, I am perfectly fine with that. And we still will run on these calls of people illegal burns. We will definitely come out and check them. And if they're not a legal burn, we will let them continue. We just ask that there's no leaf burning, no plastic, no building material. It has to be seasoned wood to burn.
Yeah, that's huge because a lot of people will, you know, if they're building a deck or something like that, take that womanized wood and that stuff stinks.
It's a big odor difference. And that's where the complaints are going to be, is with somebody burning building material that's already treated.
Yeah.
So.
And that's toxic too.
Yes, it is.
I mean, you have to shut your windows.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah. And what do you want our citizens to know about, you know, just anything fire related?
I just want you to know that we're there for you. We're there to try to keep the city safe, the township safe. If you have any questions about fire safety, I am there between 8 and 4 every day. The phone number is 765-8840. Feel free to call and I will come out and do an inspection or show you where to put smoke detectors. We do get smoke detectors donated to us from lumberjacks. So if anybody is in need of one, we will come and show you where to put them. We legally can't put them up for you, but we will find somebody to do that for you.
Yeah, that's a great service.
Yeah.
You know, because smoke detectors are, I mean, that's your lifeline.
Yes.
It truly is your lifeline.
It is.
Yeah.
They save lives.
Yes, they do.
They do, along with carbon monoxide detectors. This time of year, carbon monoxide detectors are a big deal, especially with starting your furnaces up. Them go off. We recommend you change your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide every 10 years. Replace them.
Yeah, because carbon monoxide is the silent
Yes.
killer.
Yes, it is. Yep. And I know a lot of people that have said, you know, if you got a pet, they'll detect it before that because their senses are so strong. They'll actually foam at the mouth and stuff. But I still recommend having a
Yeah, it's like
carbon monoxide
the canaries are dead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Didn't they take those in the mines,
Yep,
right? The
yep.
canaries are dead.
Yep.
Fire hydrants. If you have a fire hydrant in front of your house,
You should be parked at least 15 feet away from that fire hydrant. 360 degrees should be clear of that. And in the wintertime, we ask that if it's in front of your house and you're shoveling your snow, please don't cover that fire hydrant up because it's going to take that much longer for us to find one and unbury it.
Yeah.
So I know there's a few residents in town that actually shovel around it, and which is grateful. We are grateful for that. But you should be parked at least 15 feet away from any fire hydrant.
yeah, and that's common sense that if
Yes.
we get a major snow,
Yep.
I mean that fire extinguisher or that fire hydrant, I should say, is going to be putting your house out.
Yes,
You
and
know.
that's the biggest thing. It may be your house,
Right.
and you're burying that fire hydrant.
Yeah.
I know the city has upgraded a few on like Union Street and that, and that is a big help for that area. Getting them water mains in there, new hydrants, it is a big help
Right.
for us.
Yeah. I'm glad we have water trucks though
Yes.
too, but that,
Yep.
yeah. Water rescues.
Water rescues basically pretty much in the summertime. There's not a lot of ice fishermen here, but we do have a boat. We run probably about 5 to 6 calls a year. We're also involved with Clay, Algonac, and Ira Township in the South Water Rescue. So if any of our jurisdictions get a call on the water, they automatically bring their boat, or we'll automatically go with our boat to assist them. But water rescues, a lot of them is people just wanting to swim. This summer we went on probably 4 of them that the person was just having a good old time in the water and somebody thinks they're in trouble. We don't mind going out there and checking to make sure they're not going to hurt themselves or drowned. But life jackets are a big thing for boats.
Yep.
Anybody bringing kids near the water should have one on them. Children, accidents happen. They do slip in the water. We know kids.
Yes.
Always wanting to get near it and touch it. So
Yep. Yep.
make sure they got a life jacket on.
One of the things that I'm a boater, and one of the things that I always taught my kids, and especially when you're on a waterway that's got a current,
Yes.
you know, you want to swim off that boat, you throw a line in the water.
Yep.
Just have that line out there because you just never know. It drifts with the current, you know, and so if you're 20 feet away, that line's hopefully like next to you or near
Yes.
you. You
And
know?
it's nice along the boardwalk there, throughout the whole city. There's life rings there.
Yeah.
Perfect opportunity to throw one to somebody if you feel that they're in danger. Grab one of them life rings and throw it to them. And hopefully they can hang on to it until we get there.
Right, because the water temperature is definitely changing
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
Yes, it is.
So even though we could swim last week, I swear, you know, it's changing now.
Oh, yeah.
Hypothermia
It's,
can set in very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
And when we go on a water rescue, we also have Tri-Hospital coming in to assist for hypothermia patients and stuff like that. So
Good. Car accidents.
we run quite a few of them. We do have 2 vehicles that have new sets of jaws on them. Within the last 2 years, we've upgraded our jaws and cutting. We do get quite a few of accidents along Marine City Highway. People just driving too fast,
Yeah.
not paying attention, more on their phone, and we see it a lot when we're on the side of the road directing traffic. People are taking pictures and not watching us.
Yeah.
Just luckily we haven't had any injuries on our part.
That seems to be the most dangerous
Yes.
street, highway.
Yes.
Is
Marine City
26
Highway.
Mile Road.
Yep. Just because people are going way faster than 55.
Yeah. Yeah, way faster.
Yeah.
And it's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, it's 15 minutes.
Yes.
We've all witnessed
Yeah.
some crazy stuff, people
Yes.
passing and, you know, yeah, and I don't know, is there anything that could be done about that, you know, besides if you make it wider and, you know, at least every intersection now is better,
Yes.
marked better
Oh, yeah.
with turning lanes.
Turn lanes, you got street lights and stuff at most of them where they weren't before. You're starting to see a little more police traffic on Marine City Highway, which is nice. I see it quite a bit now. So
Yeah, I think that's good. I'm a big educator. I like, you know, especially the kid programs, and you do school programs,
Yes.
which I think is fantastic.
Yep.
What do you say to the kids, and what grade level do you go into?
So I start, I just come from one, and they were started at 3 years old, the Head Start at Meisner Road, and they go up, and we go all the way to the 1st and 2nd grade at Bell River School. We go to Holy Cross, and my biggest thing is with the 3-year-olds is just trying to teach them 911, stop, drop, and roll, get out, stay out, and talk to them about their fire alarms at their schools, a meeting place. And I demonstrate, you know, the stop, drop, and roll for them. And
I bet that's fun.
yeah, the kids have fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then I put all my turnout gear on because I look different, I sound different.
Oh, right.
And I go around and give them a high five or a bump, whatever they want to do. Some shy away, some want to give you more than one,
Sure.
which is fine. You know, I just like to see the smile on their face and they're not scared of me when I'm there with all my stuff on.
Right.
Because all you can really see is my eyes, you know, when I have everything on.
Yeah, because I think that in an actual working fire, home working fire, right there, they see like this monster coming
Yes,
at them.
yeah.
You know, breathing apparatuses,
Yeah, because
and
you sound a lot different.
and you look and sound different. You
Yes,
know, and
yeah.
you're big. You know, because
Yeah.
of all your equipment.
So I try to keep that on as long as I can when I'm there with the kids.
Yeah.
And then we go outside and I show them the truck and let them squirt the water. And I keep all that stuff on just so they can stand next to me with that stuff on, know that I'm there as their friend, as they're there to help them.
Yeah. So in a home fire situation, can you talk about like Flashpoint? Like what a fire starts getting, you know, it starts off, you know, so let's say somebody leaves a cigarette, right? And a cigarette, and this was a long time ago when I took fire science, which was a long time ago, you know, and now there's a chemical in a cigarette that puts a cigarette out.
Yes.
Back then, they burned,
Yeah.
you know. And I remember reading that, you know, you could take a cigarette, put it in a couch, like a couch cushion. You'd go up to bed, and all of a sudden that cushion starts to
Yeah.
smolder, and then all of a sudden it catches on fire. But there's a time in a fire where the conditions are so ripe that it literally almost explodes into fire.
Yeah. So what that is, it's the Flashpoint is what it is. It's where the temperature gets so hot and the smoke is pretty much all black, and the smoke itself will ignite, and you'll see it come like rolling out of a window or a bedroom. And the Flashpoint is when something gets up to the certain temperature to ignite is when it flashes. And then it's what we call a rollover, is when it comes out the door and starts rolling up or rolling over. You can actually see it coming over the ceiling. You can just see the fire coming. That's pretty much when it's the Flashpoint.
And that's
Flashpoint of when something gets to the certain temperature for it to ignite.
And that's the point of no return.
Yes.
You have to get out.
You have to get out.
There's no way you're going to
Hopefully
extinguish
you're out
that fire.
before then.
Yeah, hopefully.
And a lot of times when, you know, if you catch it quick enough, we get there before that happens. But middle of the night, you might not see it. Somebody might not be home, and it might be rolling out that door or window by the time we get there. Our response time is right around 7 to 8 minutes at night. During the day, it's a little bit quicker because we got 2 people at the station pretty much every day now.
But 7 or 8 minutes is a long time.
Yeah, especially when fire doubles in size every 25 seconds.
Right.
So you got this little fire, 25 seconds, you got this double the size.
Yeah. I think watching fire videos is fascinating.
Yes, it
You know?
is. We watch them pretty much every day at the station, some of
Yeah.
our training. And that's some of our training that we're required to do is watch videos and go out and do actually live burns on stuff.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, you learn from other people's
Yes,
mistakes.
yes, we do.
You know.
Yep.
yeah. Anything else?
Just want to put out there that Marine State Fire Department is hiring. We're looking for paid on-call firefighters, anybody between the age of graduate, 17, 18 years old, and there is no age limit at the end. We just require that you do the Fire 1 and 2 and MFR class. Fire 1 and 2 takes about 5 months. We pay for all your schooling. We pay for all your gear. There is nothing out of pocket and for you unless you want to buy a t-shirt. But we are low on numbers. Every department in the area is low on numbers. So if anybody knows 17, 18, 19-year-old male, female, everybody's welcome.
Right.
We'll put them through a physical background check and then get them signed up for an academy. Once the academy is done, Fire 1 and 2, you're state certified for life. You just got to keep your continuing ed and everything up, and you can be a firefighter as long as you want.
And you can get picked up with other larger
Yes.
departments.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
we
it's a
have
great-
several.
Yep.
They come through. We're only an MFR, but a lot of the full-time departments, you have to be an EMT or a paramedic. That EMT and fire paramedic is kind of your responsibility because we are only licensed MFR, so we don't pay for that additional class. But what we've always recommended, if somebody comes in and tells me that I want to do this full-time, I suggest to them just skip MFR and go right to the EMT. It's only a couple hours longer and you do a little more things as an EMT than you would MFR. And you'll save money too.
Sure.
Doing it.
Sure.
Skipping to one class.
Right. And it's good, you know, as a side profession.
Yes.
Right. First off, it's community service.
And it's not to make a living at as a
Right.
as a paid on call. As a full time, I can make a living, but as a paid on call, they won't. It'll be a good chunk of change if you make your percentage. We require 25% of the calls a month, and then you get a monthly check.
But it is exciting. You know, it's exciting. Community service. You know, it's a great team building.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, we have a good time. We joke around. We play a lot. You know, Tuesday nights. But once that bell goes off, we're there to do a job,
Yeah.
and we do that job professionally, and then we come back and we back to having fun. You know,
Right.
do our trainings and.
Yeah. Training is training.
But it's
yeah.
very rewarding. I never thought I would be in this position, starting where I did, but I love it, and I hope to do it for a few more years.
Every firefighter I know
Yeah.
has stayed in. They love it.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. You get kind of. You like that rush, you know,
You like to rush, and then you like to walk uptown, you got your shirt on, and somebody says, hey, thanks for your service.
Yeah.
It's rewarding.
Right.
It's very rewarding.
Yeah.
And mine is just going to the schools and talking to little kids and being able to teach them because their eyes get so big, you know, when you walk in. You
Right.
know, it's pretty rewarding.
Yeah. I think the school programs are, you know,
Yes.
fantastic. I really do.
Yeah.
You got to start them young for, you know, obviously education on fire, and then respect of firefighters, respect
Yeah.
of somebody in a uniform.
Yep.
You know, all that stuff starts
Yeah.
young.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's it. That's all I have. Unless
Good.
you have anything.
Thank you so much for
Oh,
taking the time
you're
to
welcome.
come and talk to us. And I'm certainly hoping that, you know, I always say this: if we help one person,
Yeah.
you know, just a reminder about, you know, the season coming up and the smoke detectors and the extension cord upon
Yeah.
extension cord. Yeah. Yeah. Good.
But come fill out an application.
Yes, and come fill out an application. Right. Right. Well, thank you very much. My name is Cheryl Vercammen, and this was the Mayor Minute, and we will see you at the next edition.